Good morning, everybody out there in the news world. It's Rick Spain with Infinite Grace with just another thought for you to think about, and hopefully it's going to help you. We want to thank the Weatherford Daily News and Read Publications for sponsoring this, and blessings on them. But I've been thinking, and I was thinking about a old kids song this morning, and it goes something like this: be careful, little eyes, what you see. Be careful, little eyes, what you see, for the Father up above, he's looking down with love. Be careful, little eyes, what you see. It goes on and it says, be careful, little ears, what you hear. And then it goes at the end, it says, be careful, little mind, what you think. And so, that's what I want to talk about this morning. I look at the media world, and we have what we call influencers. Influencers, yeah. And so, I don't really consider myself to be an influencer, but obviously the Lord's got different plans, and He wants me to have an influence on you, and I hope it helps. But it's the thought is God has placed a well inside of every one of us. And we fill that well with what we allow. So what we listen to with our ears, and what we watch with our eyes, and what we think with our thoughts, that's what we put in that well. It's deep inside of us. And that's, you think about this. This is what are you filling your well with? And so it's interesting because every day we drink from that well. This is not a conscious decision. It's as automatic as turning the key in the ignition on your car. What do you do when you turn it on? That thing, and it kick her in gear, and off you go. And hopefully you're not late, but especially on Monday morning. But the thought is, what goes in will come out. I remember an old story about this old fella. He was at the house, and he was doing what old fellas do. He was tinkering with this, tinkering with that, and get done with that and go sit down for a while, maybe read a book or watch TV. Well, this one day he got hungry, and he thought, well, I'm gonna go see what's in the kitchen. So he starts rustling around. He finds these crackers, and then he notices over in the corner there's some Limburger cheese that the wife had left out, and she'd had it all covered up, obviously, because Limburger cheese doesn't smell very well. But anyway, he spreads that on the cracker, and he starts consuming this delicacy that he's created. And he's got a mustache and a beard. He's older fella. He doesn't have to shave like the rest of us do. He got that Limburger cheese in his beard, and he was sitting in his easy chair, and he dozed off. And so he wakes up a little bit later, and he starts sniffing. He said, man, it stinks in here. What's the wife been doing? Hadn't been cleaning up. So he thought, well, I'll go in the bedroom. And he went in the bedroom, and he smelled around in there, and of course he's smelling that Limburger cheese, and he says, man, it stinks in here too. And so he goes into the kitchen and takes a sniff there, and yep, it stinks in there too. He thought, well, I'm going outside and getting some fresh air. So he goes out and takes a big old sniff up the nose, and he says, my Lord, the whole world stinks. And that's the thought that we're getting at here, because the question is, what does your world smell like? Whatever you put in, that's what comes out. I started out my career in the oil field. I was a young man. Started out 18 years old, roughneck, and I'm working on a drilling rig. And I learned this concept from working on this drilling rig. But what we do is, obviously we're drilling down there for oil or gas or whatever, and so we drill down, and as you're going along, well, whatever's down there in the ground every once in a while has to be repaired. You don't just stick something on there and just keep on drilling. You got to go down, and you got to pull the pipe back up, put a new bit on, or whatever needs to be fixed. So when it comes time to do that, you've got some pressure in the earth. And so that pressure, when it's impacted, what's it want to do? It wants to come out. And so we would do a term, what is called build a slug. And this is a heavy material of mud. That's what it's called. We call that mud. So that mud, we put that down the hole so it'd keep that pressure down. And so then we could pull all the pipe out, fix whatever needed to be fixed, and get back into operation. So when we would go back down with the new equipment, we would have to get that plug out of there. And so this is where the term comes in, and the term is displacement. And so how do you do that? Well, you got to pump a bunch of something else in there to get that heavy stuff out. And so as you pump this new type of mud, and that's what we called it, was mud, we pump that in there, it'd pull all that heavy stuff out, and then we could go back to drilling, back to the operations. And so how do you change what comes out? You got to change what you put in. And so this is so important, because what goes in is what's going to come out. And so what do you do? So this is what Infinite Grace is about, and this is who I represent. So we're here to help people to put new material in, so we can get that old ugly stuff out, and so we can keep on drilling, keep on living life. And so how do you do it? Well, you take the right information and you start pumping that into you. Remember the song, be careful, little eyes, what you see. Be careful, little ears, what you hear. Be careful, little mind, what you think. Because that is what you're putting in. And so when you change the information that you put in, what comes out changes as well. And so what are we? We are a biblical counseling ministry. Or, we talk about ministry, we think about, well, you know what, this is religious stuff. Well, you can consider it to be religious stuff. I consider it to be a way of life. This is what I do. And so I take every day at the start of my day, including today I started. I got in there, I opened up the Bible, I start reading it, and it's interesting. God starts talking to me. Now, it may not be a big, loud voice. It might be just a little voice. But what he does is he begins to talk to me. And so what I do is I put that in me. And so when I come down here and sit here while Sarah videos me, this stuff that he put in me is coming out. And so, and I find that when I do this on a daily basis, the bad stuff seems to go away. And I have good stuff coming out. Now, does that change the how my life is going? Well, materially, not always, but mentally, consciously, with my thoughts, what I have put in is going to come out. And so this is the key, you guys. Check who is influencing you. If you need any help go to our website to Infinite Grace Ministries, and they will lead you to where you can contact us. We can help you. Thank you for your time. Good talking to you. We'll talk to you next week.